Okay, hi there. Welcome back. Today we're going to look at twists, tilts, and turns and getting that head way far away off this from the standard model, which I think is really exciting to do. I think anybody really poses straight on and straight to the side unless you're like a stiff, maybe early Renaissance kind of pose. Anyway, I wore my bright yellow shirt so you can see them today. So let's jump right in there and get to it, and let's see what we can come up with. All right. Okay, let's look at some models now and draw some heads that are off the standard model. So tilting, twisting, and turning, and really, quite frankly, a lot of fun. Rarely are you going to see the model just deadpan straight on with no expression. So now we'll open it up and make this more dynamic. It makes it more challenging, right? But ultimately it makes it, I think, a lot more interesting. All right, so let's jump in there. I'm going to do a few big ones, and draw along with me, or when the image is popped up, draw along in your own time later on. You can mute me and just draw with the images. And I think what I'll do later on with our channel is I'll start putting up just some reference material photographs for you guys out there, my students in YouTube land, to use as well. So certainly give deference to and props to our wonderful models. Most of them here are just students that volunteered to pose for us. All right, let's jump into a couple of larger poses. I always like to draw big and then medium and small for you guys so you can see the various differences, how physical it feels, and how when you draw small it's more wrist oriented, and then different materials I think is important too. All right, so the first pose we have gets us way off the standard model. We're going to be looking a little bit down now at the model. So I'm going to draw a little bit faster. We're going to keep it still relatively simple. I'm not going to go full value or full head features, but we're just finding our key points when we draw now. So we're off of the standard model. All right, so he's looking down further, face line moving in this direction. The oval of his head moving in through here and over. So we can bring this whole thing over as an oval, down and through here. The neck starts to move in this direction. Back of the neck we see here, and then of course we have shoulder here, right? This feels like a tube or a cylinder in this direction. We want to make sure that we hit that and through here, and then shoulder coming down in that direction. So we've already got that tilt. So we're way off the standard model for our profile, right? So we see the side plane of the head. That's the next thing I want to really emphasize. Remember, right behind the eye. Okay, so the eye halfway down from top to bottom, generally still. It's a 3/4 profile. It's about right in through here. So eye line right in through here. Brow line pushed up a little bit. So what we see here is we see brow right in through here. Okay, and over. Slight indentation where the socket of the eye will be. Then we'll come on down, find that jaw, come on down a little bit, like so. In through here. And the eyes are a little bit tilted on an angle. Do you see that? Right in through here like so. So we see eye line right behind that eyeball. Then we start to see that side plane of the head. Kind of where his hair starts. Right in through here we see that side plane and up and over. Right in through there. So we're already building on our structure. We can start to feel this lobe turn and give us that dimensionality that we want. So we take a turn this way and we come back through the head there. Really important to see that information coming around. So he's coming around that way. So we see eye line, brow line, bottom of the nose, about right in through here, about halfway down right. A little bit higher in this view. That's going to change. As we move, you pivot, you twist, you turn. You're going to find that you're going to have to be more intuitive as you relate the standard model to off the standard model. So nose in through here, coming over and down. We'll be very quick with it just to find our points of view. Notice how the mouth line bottom of the lips pretty much tucked in. The gesture is everything is pushed downward like so. So really push downward. Then we can bring his jawline down, the front part of the cheek, the jaw, cheek in through here. Okay, and I'll start to bring this brow line over so you can start to see that hood coming over like so. And then downward you get that expression on through, and then cheekbone, that rhythm of that eye socket really coming through into here. We can start to see that build. Eyeball starts to emerge roughly right in through there. I'll shade that so you can see that a little bit finer, a little bit better. Okay, like so. You want to be thinking now 3 dimensions, 3D across that form. So we're moving here, right? With our pose, we're moving across here. Then it takes a turn and moves back over the model in through there. Then we can bring this muscle down from the back of the ear, the sternocleidomastoid muscle through here. You can see it pretty much connects. It's got a little gathering of the chin as the chin touches downward onto the sternum area. It's going to gather a little bit and create an extra pocket of flesh in through here, and then we're going to move to the muscles that connect to the sternum here. And that sternum, you can already see it move in this direction here, and then on up, and it gets you out of the photo a little bit, and on downward and up through. And then lastly, we'll put the ear on. So the ear, now this is interesting, we get way off. It's pushed quite a bit over from the standard model. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll try to find the highest point of the ear in my mind. This happens really quickly, and I project a horizontal line across from where I think the tip of that ear is in the back of the head, about right here in its height, and it winds up a little higher than the top of the eyeball socket where it gets shadowy. Can you see that? Right through there. So it's a little higher, and it's about where the eyebrow emerges here, about the top of it. So I bring a horizontal line in my mind, or I could draw it over. I suggest for those of you that are beginners is to draw it over, see it. See that horizontal alignment. That's where the tip of that ear is. So I've already got its placement. So look how high that is. Now I'm going to bring that down to above. It's going to be slightly above the nose, about right in through. Let me draw this a little bit stronger in through here. So you see that. Okay. I can start to see that emerge a little bit further. Nose up a little bit higher through there. Okay, so we can see now the ear angles over, kind of a classic question mark sort of curve, like so. And it ends up higher than the bottom of the nose to about right in through here. So I can bring that down and over to that shape and sort to close it in, and we'll just give it a little bit more dimensional expression in through there. We won't go crazy with that. So that's how, again, I found the placement of the ear as well. So we've moved now quite a bit off the standard model, and we can start to get into some really, what I think is much more exciting kinds of expressions with the model. And of course, you want to put on a little hair up in through here, and over and downward. But I don't want to get too complex. Okay, so there's our first. Let's go on to another one. Okay, now we have a really challenging one. So in this model, in Javon's pose, we've got a really strong tilt, right? Slight twist. So our standard model is kind of obliterated. So we really have to be careful about that and use perspective, use our understanding of the basic structural integrity of the head to figure out this pose. So the first thing I look at is the gesture, especially in this particular pose. And he's pushed. He's really coming on in that direction. If you even have to draw yourself arrows to help yourself out, definitely do that. I think that's That's important. So his flow, the movement of his head is moving in this direction. So from top right to bottom downward, bottom left. So we want to make sure that we keep that tilt. And I'm going to talk a little bit also about eye, nose, and mouth alignment, that in a normal view, they're all, for instance, if we have brow, right, we have eye line, we have bottom of the nose, bottom of the mouth. See how they're all parallel? That's important because most of us all of us really stay pretty parallel. In perspective, we still stay parallel, but because we're in a 3/4 view, there's going to be a slight angling because of perspective, because of that vanishing point moving very, very far away, okay, in the horizon line mostly. That doesn't mean when we straighten up that we're out of alignment. We're still parallel. If you're drawing standard models, right, let's say straight on, and we have a center line, but then you're drawing the brow here, you're drawing the eye line kind of like that, nose line like that, mouth like that. We've got a distended and broken, we'll say the Picassoization of the face. Now, when you're being expressive and you're breaking up the rules of art, go for that. Go for it. I love Picasso. Okay, most of his stuff. I love it. And break all that expression and make it happen for yourself. But when you're trying to be accurate, for accurate's sake, you want to make sure that these are parallel. Now, getting back to his pose, when we're on a tilt, even, let me draw the head just to make this more clear. It's a very important point, I think, is that when we're tilted, we have a parallel, especially if it's straight front on. He's slightly changed, but I want to make this point. Eye line, brow line, see how they're parallel but tilted? The bottom of the nose is parallel to the brow, to the eye line, and also the bottom of the bottom lip. So these are all parallel, you know, like I am still here when I twist, or I tilt like this, I'm straight up. My features are still parallel, they're not off. Okay, so be careful of that when you're raising an eye too high or too low. There can be some slight deviation, but not enough to make it extravagantly off parallel. I think that's really an important point to see. Okay, getting back to his pose proper now. So we're going to start to hit that oval. Figure out his oval. You can come across and you can top off the cranium if you wanted to, kind of that circle that we've seen and we've talked about. Then we can start to bring this down even further to his pose, square jawed underneath and through here. Now what I'm doing in here is I've got to be careful. I'm drawing more than just the head now. I'm drawing part of the neck over here. Because what's happening is the center of his head now, its center line is coming in through here, okay? This is the gesture, but his center line is pushing in through here, correct? Down to the chin. We'll mark the chin about right there. So the bottom of the jaw roughly is right in through here. This curves in and on up and over in through here. See that? That's important to see as we start to move through his head a little bit further. So we have his underneath part of his jaw and then part of the neck coming over. We feel that. Feel the chin coming over and in the jaw over in, squares up in through here, and then wants to curve and top off at the top of the head that way. Then we can start to bring the neck, which really follows the flow of the gesture, right? Down in through. It elongates. He's really expanding that neck on this side where we talked about expansion and contraction, and he's got contraction on that side. That's really important to see too. Here where his sweater crashes into his neck and through there. So the neck bulges, the shoulder bulges and crashes together. So then we have this movement of the sweater and the cylindrical aspect of the neck. We don't want to forget that coming over. And then we see his sweater pick up over in here, and I'll just kind of let it fall off that way. Then we can pick this up a little bit, really hit the shoulder on down and simplify that angle for now and on over. So already we kind of have this tilt in this kind of crash that you start to see, the crash of this contraction into his neck there. All right, so let's start to formulate and get a clear aspect of his jaw. So underneath here, now we see the back of the jaw. We want to bring that in. That's important structurally to marry this to this because we're on this particular aspect and angle. Okay, so we have that coming in and through. Get to the throated area in through here with the Adam's apple, epiglottal area right in through there, and then we'll bring that neck over and give it a little bit more of a curve here, and then it straightens out just slightly in through here as it starts to disappear. All right, so we have that. Now let's start to find our features a little bit and help us out with this chin region in through here. Okay. All right, so center line in through here. Look how far we're off the standard model from our very top, right? So we're off in through here. Now we're going to see that the eye line is pushed pretty high, very high. The brow is way up in through here, so we have our brow line, and it's also slightly curved now. We get more of a curve with these tilted views as we start to push back. So now we have the eye line up and high, really high, right? In through here. And what really I think can be difficult in the beginning for those who are newer to drawing is look how high these are pushed off and up, because we're seeing slightly now underneath the chin. We see all this information up and through here as we come forward. I'm going to show you that we'll find this side plane of a head about right in through here and over. Okay, the nose line, the bottom of the nose line is pushed very, very high, wide. Okay, very wide in through there, so we have the bottom of our nose. And in these underneath views as we're looking up, the nose, the structural component, I think they're a little bit easier to draw and see. They become like a triangle with the nostrils, the left and to the right, and then looking up. See how that becomes a kind of triangular base in through there? Then we have the tip of the nose emerging, right, coming through, and of course the nostrils on either side. So the tip of the base of the nose runs kind of into the eye line. So there's the tip of the nose through there. We see that. Then we come down the triangle of the nostril in through here. We see that emerge. We see the other side. Look how that's on a curve. That's on a curve. But it's still relatively parallel. Keep that in mind. So we have that. We have that coming through and curved, not straight across, into the nostril and through there. And then we have the hub, tip of the nose, kind of coming down in through there. Then we have the nostril starting to emerge there. And then the nostril starting to emerge right in through there. That's a difficult pose to hold. He didn't have to hold that long. He's got a little smile on his face, which is great too as well. Nice and expressive kind of pose. All right, so we have now, let's find, in this feeling, we can start to negotiate around in through here. What I do is I always try to find maybe the intuitive feeling of the bottom of the lip, but also start the top lip, and also get a gestural feel of the entire mouth on its curve. It's closed mouth, fuller lips in through here, coming across. And remember this whole area, remember the racquetball we talked about? So I'm still on and want to feel this whole area, remember, as a ball structurally. That's what we're talking about again today, just that structure and gesture and getting off those landmarks. So you feel that as a ball, right in through there. So we can start to feel his top lip in through here with the philtrum just barely emerging in through here. And then we see this bottom lip on this nice curve coming in through here. Bottom lip on this nice curve coming down and through. You can see the jawline start to emerge this way and downward. Jawline up and through here, merging downward in through here. This cheek, not jaw, I'm sorry, cheek in through there. Talking and drawing, not easy. All right, so cheekbone coming in through there, cheekbone popping up and over and emerging, that jawline, and that really gets us the side plane of our head, about right in through here and on over, right, in and downward and through there. Okay, so we feel like our lips are coming down, coming nicely. Now I'm looking at the fullness of the width in through here, and I usually measure it from the center and just kind of guesstimate. I feel like that's about the wideness that we want, and I just start to turn, get that turn of Javon moving and pulling downward here, moving, pulling up, and then it's on that curve too as well. Okay, so that's important. So everything has that curve, but you notice how we're still in relative harmony of alignment, parallelness. That's important. Okay. Otherwise, we get into expressive Picasso, German expression, etc., which is very exciting, but you better know what and why you're doing that, as opposed to being more, I guess, analytically accurate. So let's move down to the bottom of the lip in through here, and I'll gauge the wideness in through here. A little bit wider than the top, and then this curves upward, right, and then disappears on up and comes in and underneath the top lip. Of course, we could get into more detail at another time. So the next aspect is to feel that distance, to feel this pull of the ligament, the tendon, the muscle coming in through here to the chin. Okay, picking up, still relating back to our center line in through here, and then to get his jaw is turning up underneath. What we're seeing is this kind of underneath quality of the jaw, and it wants to round out in this way too. That's what makes it so difficult, but we're seeing it structurally kind of like that, up, right, and then it disappears down underneath into the shadow. So this is a curve this way. We see that, and then we can see that come over, meet up, and curve in this way, correct? Like so. Meet up and through. On the other side, curve in and downward. And then we have this nice curving turn here of the chin, right in through there. And I can square this off for just structural integrity to show you that, even though it deviates a little bit, and then we can come down a little bit. So there's always a fight between structural and holding it together, integrity, and then detail. Detail's less important until you get to it. Action, volume, and then detail. Okay? So then we're going to find, I'm going to hit this jawbone a little, this cheek a little bit higher, cheekbone a little bit higher. One of these days I'll get that right. All right? Cheekbone in through here, turn that up a little bit, and then we can bring that over parallel up, and we'll find it right over and through here in that shadow. He'll turn right in through there. So there's the cheekbone, the ending part over there, and then the side plane of the head. Okay? Now let's find we'll find a little bit of the bottom of the jaw on the back, right in through here. Underneath, down here below the chin, right in through here, and of course he disappears in shadow down in through there a little bit. So what we have is this turning here, and then it comes downward, and then it really crashes inward. Okay? Ear line, the last part now. Wow, look how low they are. So what I do is I just visually take an account of where I think they're at, and I start to say, well, they're way down here, about underneath the bottom of the lip. That's pretty amazing where that's at, how low they're at now. Okay, so they're here, generally at underneath the bottom of the nose, right, in between the brow and the nose, but look how off they are because of perspective, because we're looking so far up now. And so I'll take a measure of the ear. It feels pretty comfortable right there. It gets a little wider as it moves out and then tucks underneath just a little bit in through there. And then that will help us. We'll bring a line over, kind of curved line, and say it feels pretty good right in through there. And so I can make a mark, feel where that ear is in through here, and then you can see it goes on an angle a little wider out this way, and then wants to turn and come in. It's mostly a silhouette, but we can feel its three-dimensionalness in through here. And then tuck, curve back in. The lobe is separate from the head. Not everybody's like that. And then we can bring it in through here. Take a measure of it and say it looks like we're pretty accurate in that case. Okay. All right. So let me just throw on the eyeball, and I'll finish out the brow just a little bit. Tighten up this head. It gets a little bit pointier right in through here. It squares off a little bit for the very, very top of the head. A little bit of a hairline showing through. Comes back down, divots in and over. Notice that this furrowed part of the brow, very, very high up. It's in highlight in this particular model. In through here. And we get a little bit of that structure of the nose coming in through here. We get that furrowed brow. And then notice that the eyebrows are pushed up pretty high. As a matter of fact, they elevate off of the profile here, right? So there is a bump here in on through and over. How defined our skull furrowed brow is. There's a bump right in through there. And as we come over the other side, we can bring this over, find that curve. Look how strong of a curve that is. Very strong curve. We can bring him over. Not really a bump in through here since we're seeing a little bit more of the left plane of the head than the right. So slightly tilted, twisting and tilted in its position to turn. And we can kind of just tone in that brow through here. And then let's put on the round eyeball. Not the eyelashes or the eyelids, but where that eyeball would be. And you're going to feel it right in through here. Anytime that you draw, anytime that you draw the eyes, it's a good bet. It's a really good bet to think through the golf ball or the ping pong ball, the eyes, always. Because remember, you're on a rounded surface, just like with your mouth, that racquetball inside there. As your teeth pull around, your eyelids pull around. So the first thing I go for is that roundedness, okay? As I measure out the fullness of the eyeball. And sometimes in perspective it'll overlap. The nose will overlap that a little bit, and that's okay. It's supposed to do that in these particular viewpoints. And so we can feel that eyeball here. Moving underneath with the cheekbone coming over and overlapping that area. This brow wants to come back in through here. Cheekbone overlaps. Beautiful high cheekbones overlapping a little bit through there. And then we have the eyeball emerging lower, which would be about right. The fullness, the total eyeball, the total effect. About right in through there. And then we can check and see, yeah, that was pretty good on our curve. About right there where the end of the eye would be. Okay, so as you draw, this happens a lot faster than me talking through it. I draw a lot faster. We want to slow this down so you can see all this information. And then we'll shade just this little section so you can kind of see it. So you can tell you've got your work cut out for you, right? When you draw twists and turns, contrapposos and tilts, right? Tilting, twisting, turning, however you want to say it, whatever is the phrase word. But you got your work cut out for you, but if you'll keep your standard model in mind, know its deviation, and trust your intuitive senses, which you'll need some time to develop. I'm not going to lie to you, but it will come together for you in a dynamic way. All right. So let's go now on to some smaller studies. We can go probably, hopefully, a little bit faster, and we'll change up the materials a little bit. Okay, let's do that. Let's jump in now to another pose, and we'll go a little bit smaller. I'm going to try to go a little bit faster to get a little bit more through. So we're looking at, remember, models off the standard model, right? Poses off the standard pose. Open eyes, closed eyes, open mouth, screaming, laughing, twisting, turning, tilting, and really getting into the aspects of I think, more interesting life drawing. All right, so we've got Javon here in kind of an open, kind of a screaming pose, and I'm going to start out with the oval of the head. So he's kind of 3/4 slightly tilted, mouth open. So I'm going to start with that oval here, right? And I'm using today a Faber-Castell Polychromos pencil. It's kind of Venetian ready, if you will, sanguine. All right, so we're moving down to his jaw, finding his end of his chin and through here, face line. So the gesture's in through here, up and around and over. Back of the skull, might bring a diagonal over and downward in through here. Okay, so we have that. So mouth really open, so that jaw is probably going to go even higher than that. So I'm always going to adjust later on, as long as I keep drawing fairly lightly. So I'm going to bring down this neck in through here, and it will start to make a cylinder roughly in through here. This jawline roughly in through here. It's a pretty dark shadow. It's a little harder to see. Then we have the sweater line in through here, sweater line for the back of the head, and then over just a little bit and through there. And so the next thing I'll look for here is start to define where the features are, my center line. Forehead's pushed pretty high in through here. Center line coming down in through, about right in through here. There's my center line. And I like to find the eye line or the side plane of the head, or guess at the side plane of the head first. I'm really big into teaching my students and any other students out there in YouTube land, getting that side plane of the head. It's so important to give you dimension. Remember, the only view we don't see it is a direct back, a strong back view. All right, so side plane here, and then pushed back on over where the ear is going to be downward and through here, that temporal lobe moving in this direction, that direction, right? All right, so I can now bring over this profile of the head a little bit further. I feel the eye line coming out of that center of the head and over. So we're going to get a curve and then tilted downward in that particular angle. I think that's important to see. So we're going to get this movement this way. We're going to get now the brow slightly above it, a little bit higher and raised off of that because of the expression. The brows are going to be tilted up a little bit through here. And when I talk about brow, I don't necessarily mean the eyebrow. I mean the actual furrowed, the orbit, top of the orbit of the eye, that bony protrusion. That's important to make sure that we are always clear on that. So notice how the left side of the eyes tilted higher. We're off the standard model. Here's straight on. Now we have a nice tilt that way. So I can start to capture that brow here, bring it back in where the socket of the eye makes that nice protrusion through. Okay, curves in and then back out for the cheekbone. We're still slightly on an angle, so about right in through here, that cheekbone emerges. And then automatically, instead of coming back down all the way through, even though it's still on an angle this way, I can start to relate this cheekbone to the other side by finding it over here and relating it through. Already see that? So I can start to find that skull anatomy and structural component all the way through there. So that gets me the side plane of the head even a little bit stronger right in through there. I think that's important to see in your drawing and try to get that aspect as often as you can. Okay, hairline roughly right in through there, down through. Javon's got a nice structural integrity showing through because of the shortness of the hair. So we get a young man who has shorter hair, which is closely cut to the cranial skull area. So that gives us structure without losing kind of the normative hairline too as well. Okay, so we'll bring down, I'll find this back of the jaw. It's kind of hard to see. Remember, even if it's a strong shadow, we can find it center right in through there and on down and through, and then it's open, so it's going to be wider. And so I've got to feel this deviation coming through here, coming in through here. See how it lines up right in through there? And then it's open. So it's open wide in through there. And then I'll have to feel, as I find my feature lines coming down through, I'll have to see if that's going to be accurate enough. And then I'll adjust as I need to. And then we can bring down the sweater line a little bit further and on over to the back of the head in through here. Sweater line through and down. All right, so let's go find these features even further. So again, we've got our center line, we've got our brow line tilted in through here, center of the forehead roughly in through here. This is turning this direction. And again, this moves back in this direction. Bottom of the nose line. Now remember, halfway through, let's find that. Now look how far this is pushed down. So this is going to mean that we're way off the standard deviation of our half. So I'll start to eyeball that through. I know halfway would be here. Well, that's way too low. That would be where the teeth are, right? So I've got to come up and feel that. So I find what would be the norm, and I adjust based on my sight right in through there. Okay? And here, so here's the bottom of the nose where the end of the nostril is, right in through there where it's touching. So we have that. Then I start to feel, okay, the top lip and the gesture. Normally I would find the bottom of the lip, but look how far down it is off. Normally it would be halfway in through here. So I'm going to get the gesture then of the actual mouth. I think that's going to be important. This opening. So remember, this is kind of a normative would be a racquetball right in through here. Yeah. There's the norm, but look how far we're pushed off of that. So coming through the cheek, down and over and through, down to the jawline. Now we can find the gesture of the mouth in through here. This openness here, over, here's the center line, so that's where the center of the lip would be. Bottom of the top of the lip feels about right in through there. And over, we come down, crashes over and curves in. Okay. Through here. Then we can start to see this gesture curve in just a little bit, up and through. And then the bottom lip feels, the top of the bottom lip feels about like it's going to be right in through here. When I say feel, I'm just waiting visually. Everything, remember, is curved and rounded, but it's also moving downward in that direction. That's important to see through. So we'll have the eye, the lip, and through here, downward and through. We can feel start to feel the teeth coming in through here. Okay, I'll keep it very general. I don't want to get into detail. I just want to help you find the structural components. We'll get into finite detail at a later time, I promise. So, bottom of the top of the lip and through here and over. Let's keep these pretty simple and just find structural components. So now I've got the gesture flowing this way, right, with the bottom of the lip open. Here I'm back on my curve, so where it opens here, that's the widest point, and it starts to come back in, I feel this on the other side, right in through there, right? So we've got this bottom lip coming downwards, top of the bottom lip and through here, then it overlaps. This comes in, and I can feel the center point of the bottom of the lip, this turn of a cylinder or an ellipse, right? Right in through here, and feel the fat part of the bottom lip as it turns away this way, and then moves towards us, gets even fuller, then disappears a little bit in shadow, but of course it's going to come back to us and go underneath here. So this is going to get pulled up a little bit. This muscle pulls up just slightly in through here to get that view. And then, so we've got a pretty accurate situation now going on. And we can get the bottom of the chin structure. This pulls in slightly, curves, and then remember it curves over. And this is going to straighten out. So the center line, we're still on our center line pretty well. We're holding it nicely in perspective. Look how challenging that is. And there's the center of the chin in perspective. Now, it's not straight, right? But now it's tilted. slightly tilted, and we'll come, well, a lot tilted, and we'll come back up this way and then catch our jawbone a little bit cleaner and clear. So let's give a little bit more of a just a slight structure to the nose and through here. This moves in this direction, coming over. Tip of the nose, full and round. And through here. A little bit squared off underneath the highlight as it plunges downward, side plane, down and through here. It's going to come up and underneath and curl up for the nostril. And through there, I'll just indicate that without getting it too specific. And then we have the structure of the nose, the bridge of the nose, if you will, up and through here. The end of the bone where the cartilage starts down below. This will come through like this direction, so it gets very boxy, then up and over. And then again we have that brow diving in. And more, since he's a little bit darker, he's darker skinned, so we have a lighter highlight to show that structural component. And through that. And then we'll push up with this brow and through here. And then find the eyeball and through there. It tucks in nicely, bulges out just a little bit. So the actual golf ball, ping pong ball, the eye, about right in through. Right in through here. Be careful not to draw them too heavy or too dark. It'll look like John Lennon glasses. We don't want that. We just want to feel the roundness of the ball so that we can start to put the roundness of the eyelid on. Get a gesture in through there. All right, let's bring that over. Let's make sure we keep that tilt. So the bottom of the eye, if I transfer it over, it's slightly on a tilt and on a curve down this way, right? And so up here, here's the bottom. See where this shadow starts to emerge of the orbit, the eye socket? That's important. Right in through here. That tells us how much of a tilt and twist it is. So it moves in this direction, then it comes back and over. So we get this nice rhythm of the eye up to the brow, right, and then back through, coming back through, over and through here and downward. And so now inside, tuck nicely. Maybe give the space from the side plane of the nose in here. Make sure that we get enough space in between, and we can start to fit that eyeball tucked nicely in through here. The end of the eyeball about right in through here. So this one's going to be larger than this one because it's in perspective. Starts about right in through here. There's our eyeball, roughly in through there. Maybe pushed off a little bit wider. And again, these lids, they'll start. I'll just give the gesture of it. They start to turn across that eyeball in through there like so. So this one's a little smaller, maybe even a little bit smaller right in through here. This one will be a little bit larger in perspective because remember, we're moving and we're engaging with the tilt, the twist, the turns that we see, and the perspective is moving this way, perspective is moving that way. But if he were to straighten out, his features would be parallel. I think that's important to notice and to understand about what's going on in different points of view. Okay, so let's put the ear on. It's a little harder to see, and it's bulging slightly outside here. So we might be we could come in a little bit more narrower, I think. Just slightly right in through here. Okay, and then finding that ear top, generally from the brow and then down in perspective as we're moving in this direction over. Feels pretty good, so it's going to be kicked over a little bit here. It starts here. He's going to be a little bit wider ear. Okay, and then we're going to come down and feel that ear come down. Just feel the value through, feel the line through the ear. About right in through here. And if we bring that over, that side plane, if we transfer it all the way down here and then down across. So it's going to be lower than, maybe I'm a little bit too low with the ear. So I see a straight line coming across from the tip of the nose here over, gets us to where that bottom of the ear is, and then we can come back and correct it, and it feels better right in through there. So always go back and double check. I have to, so that that doesn't preclude you. Definitely do your diligence, double check, and make sure that you've got your features where they need to be, and when they deviate from from your model a little bit. And then I'll just throw on just a little bit of shading in here so we can conclude this structural study out right in through there. Okay, pretty challenging stuff. All right, let's go on to another pose. Okay, so we've got Allison here, and this is a challenging pose, and because we're looking now down on the model. So we're looking down upon what could be a box or could be an oval kind of form to draw. So depending on how you conceive it and construct it, it can be a couple different things. All right, so let's take that pose. Now she's doesn't necessarily have her eyes closed, but because we're looking so far down on the model, the eyes look closed, but the lashes and the direction of the eyes are so far down that the movement off a ball, let's say here, right, would be here. So the lashes where the eye would be, the eyeball might emerge just a little bit looking down in this direction, which is important to know. Normally they would be more into the center, right? Well, that tells you that generally the head's pushed down. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw this pose. The first thing I'll start to take a look at is the oval structure now of the head. But because I know that we're looking above it, you could even make that into a top plane of a box, slightly narrower at the back. Okay, so in my mind, I might also be thinking about the top plane of a box here and here, right? And if I brought that top plane down of this curved box, it's going to look like an oval too. And there we'll bring her features down. Okay, remember to keep roughly our 2 to 3 proportional set. It gets a little bit off because we're looking from a top point of view. We're the dominant view on top a little bit. And we'll come back down in through here. And so we see where this moves and this moves and this moves downward a little bit. So we see a little bit less of the neck, but I'm going to draw it more structurally for you so you see it coming in, and then turning like a tube. See that ellipse? The ellipse is here. Really pushing back in this direction, pushing back in that direction to get us back over. And then the shoulder turns downward. The trapezius muscles in the back, and it moves downward here, and we move downward in through here in this direction. And outward and wider. All right, so let's pick back up on the head and let's find the oval structure and get a little bit more specific, but still keep it general. I don't want to get into too much detail. So as you're doing these sketches, try to keep them fairly quick. Defining this is enough for what I'd like to see you do right now. That's plenty for now. And we'll work hard to get more detail later on. All right, so I might start to find her hairline in through here, roughly in through here. I'm just looking at the width between. I can mark it if I want and then say, okay, it's angled down this way without getting too complex. Side plane of the head is going to be here. Little side plane of the head is going to be in through here and downward. All right, so I'm feeling this cranial structure where the center of the eye line is, where I'm guessing the center of the eye line is because I haven't taken a true analytical proportional notation of it yet, but I'm about to get into that. All right, so we feel that down, I always kind of correct and say, just intuitively, hey, how am I doing here before I start to get into that marking of my drawing. And if it feels a little bit wrong, I'll change it. It feels decent for now, a little bit thinner. She's a little bit thinner in through here. And we have this nice chin, nice cleft chin in through there. It gives us that divot, which is really nice dimple in through there. Okay, so the next aspect I'll show you, I'll take on, is the center line. She's slightly tilted from here. Do you see it? Just slightly there, not just by just a touch. So we want to be sensitive to that. So I'm going to make this side of the head a little wider, this slightly narrower, and bring this angle just slightly in further. Okay, I think that's important to see. Just barely. This might stay kind of round and straight in here, just to get that. So we're seeing maybe just a little bit more on this side. So she's here to there. Very, very subtle. And so the center line I'm going to bring will be slightly tilted. Straight it would be here. Tilted it's going to be right in through there. So I'll bring that down. I want to find the center of my eye line. So top of the head, bottom of the head, halfway through. Yeah, it feels right there, but be careful. Because we're tilted down, we really can't go straight across anymore. We have to curve. You see how this is on a curve? It's on a slight curve. It's not straight. Here it would be straight. Here's the brown line. But what we're seeing is this slight curve as we look down. The features get curved the further down that you look on the model. That cranial structure, that chin coming down in through here. And then this gets on a curve. That's why. Okay, it's not a crazy curve, but it's a little bit of a curve in through here. So here's the center of the eye line, right in through here. Brow line's even slightly more curved. You see the brow come up like that. Okay, so we have that. Now let's find the bottom of our nose. Okay, it's going to be pushed down a little bit lower. So halfway from here to here would be here. I see it as slightly, just a little bit lower, about right in through there, bottom of the nose. And in this case, it's where the nostrils would be, but notice that the tip of the nose, a little bit lower, pushes down. Why? Because we're looking down on her a little bit. So we have the tip of the nose in through here. Okay, so we can mark that. I'll just kind of mark the width of the nostrils, pushed back in through here a little bit. So that's all pushed in this direction. Okay, then we bring her cheek down a little bit further. I'll start to, once I get the nose figured out, it starts to come together for me a little bit quicker. And through here, coming down. Okay, we've got that. And let's find the bottom of the lip, bottom of the bottom lip, nostrils here, bottom of the nose, curved a little bit, halfway down, bottom of the lip about right. Feeling about right in through there. Okay. And if you have to elongate, you elongate. So we feel that chin, that narrow chin coming in through here. We feel that structure moving. So our center line, make sure we get that over. Like so. Okay, and then we can push her just a little bit in this direction. And we'll push that shirt down a little bit, just a little bit lower and through there. Okay. So we'll find her gesture of her mouth through here. So this is all, see that all in a curve in through here and up. So I start to feel this, the slight smile, the openness of this gesture in through here and up and through. We can bring down this cheekbone a little further and further in through here. Bring down this hair a little bit. Any visual clue that I can use to help me, I'll definitely use as I'm drawing. Okay, so we can get this gesture, the smile. Notice how it comes up further. So I'm just getting a feel for the entire mouth. I'm not really separating anything yet. So I'm coming up, feeling that roundness of that racquetball. This whole area into here, right? This area. So this comes around, starts to give, look how far back the mouth goes, and so it's got to come up in our viewpoint. And this is where the top lip kind of starts to tuck in through. Then we have that nice openness of the cheek that starts to come in this direction and through here. So we start to see that through and around and up. And it's not quite symmetrical. This one's a little higher, pushed up a little higher. We come around, it's kind of like a horseshoe, and then down a little bit lower. This one's a little bit more subtle on this side. So we see that transfer. That's also because we get that nice tilt, that center line. Let's move that chin still over. Narrow that out and come in a little bit further. There we go. Push that chin in. So we have that tilt. That's important subtlety to see, that tilt of the mouth and through. This turns in through here. Let's keep it simple. So we have that top lip, filtrum in through here, little V shape of the lip, and then the movement in through here. Then we have very narrow view of the top lip, not much at all. And then we have the teeth. Be careful with the teeth not to draw them individually. We'll get into details later, but I'm just going to give you the bottom of the teeth line that I see for now, and it curves up and it'll disappear a little bit. Fullness of the teeth here, and they curve and disappear here. We'll keep it very general, broad. And then the bottom lip, I'll find that width of the bottom lip. I'll bring that kind of ellipse and curve, and we'll see it here. It's on a slight angle, so a little bit fuller at the bottom. Okay. And we'll let that dive in and disappear underneath the top lip. It gives it that nice appeal downwards. And then we'll come in and let that disappear kind of in the shadow a little bit too, just to finding our landmarks, hitting our landmarks and knowing our proportions, but now with twists and turns and tilts. Make it even more fun. This jawline a little bit. All right, let's settle in now on the nose too as well. Let's find out where that cranial structure is on that curve and through here. We have that, and let's bring the nose down. The shaft of the nose will be here, like so. There's where the bone protrudes just slightly, very subtle, if not at all, in through here. So we can see that coming down in, and we get the width of the bottom of the tilt of the tip of the nose and through here. And then the nostrils we pulled back in this direction, and slightly, see how they're slightly on an angle. So this one's a little higher in through here, and it's really subtle on this one's a little bit lower in through here and connecting. All right, so we see, and there's got a lot of shadow in through here. I'm not going to draw the shadow. So we see this in through here. We've got the wideness of the base of this inside skull of the nose in through here, which gets us our eye orbits. We start to find them a little bit more fully in through here and through here. And then let's take a reckoning now of the brow as it moves in through here and on up and over. So we see that, and we see our forehead, this protrusion, it's a slight protrusion coming in this direction. Okay, and then we see her other eyebrow coming in this direction as well. Okay, so now let's just place the eyeballs on here. I don't see much of the ear too as well, but I am going to make an indentation where I think they're going to be, just to help us out and help you out too as well. All right, so let's put the eyes on, the eyeballs. So they're going to be higher up since we have this point of view looking down upon the model. And notice how the eyes are slightly coming back and curved and going back also in this direction. So they're a little bit deeper set in. So we end of the brow right in through here. In the eyeball, the ball itself sitting in the socket is going to sit right about in through here, up and around. So that would overlap. I'll draw it lightly here, just kind of go over it so you can see it and draw it heavier underneath here. And then I'll make a little darker line where her eyelashes go a little bit darker. So her eye may be, her eyes are probably slightly open. I see it where the underneath part of the lid in through here. So she's looking downward in this direction, downward in this direction to give it that look. So she's not quite close, but it does look like on first glance or first view you would think that would be closed. All right, let's get the other eyeball in. Remember, you can still get roughly 5 eyes wide here. So we have 1, okay, 2, 3, 4 would be the other width in through here. Make sure you leave enough space between the nose, the bone protrusion, that brow coming through and through here and on over. Make sure you leave that. Okay. Curved a little bit, so a little higher. That means the brow's a little higher and through here. The end of the eyeball's up a little bit and downward. Okay, and then we have end of the eye and through there. Okay, so we have the end of the eyeball and through here. Side plane of the head roughly in through there. So even if you have heavy shadow and you're doing a drawing where you don't want it, you know your proportions, your anatomy, the better you can place it. So side plane and then moving down to the cheekbone outwards and through there. So we can get that working for us. And then she's got a little tone in through there. Okay, let's lastly place the ears. I can't quite see them in here, but I can tell that they'll be a little bit higher up. So we could say from the brow, the top of the brow, or the brow, brow line, roughly in through here. I think they'd be slightly, the top would be a little bit higher, maybe in through here. And the bottom of the ear might just emerge about right in through here, so off the bottom of the nose a little bit. So I would make a little mark, and we can see just maybe a little bit of the tip of the ear emerging. I'll soften this up a little bit, this edge. Tip of the ear emerging here, and this be fairly symmetrical and probably over here. We might see a little bit of the ear kind of underneath where this hair kind of turns. You see that? It turns in this direction. We can start to see the tip of the ear about maybe right here and maybe just a little bit more as we could come in. All right, so that was a very subtle view. It's nice to see those, and I'll go a little bit wider in through here and bring that over and downward. Okay, let's move on to some more. All right, now we got a view with Steven here, and boy, he's really pushed over. So it's kind of the opposite of the Javon, the larger Javon one we did a little bit. So now we're pushed right in this direction, and the gesture is moving, in that direction. So we're really pushed over. All right, so let's give a shot at this one. So the first thing I look for, a lot of times I look for is just the very top line of the head pushed over, and it's really kind of boxy too as well. So maybe I'll start. I'll just draw what I think is the box. So remember the gesture. The gesture. Everything is moving in this direction. The whole fluff. I could eliminate it down to one line. It would be down in through here. And so what's kind of cool, you can kind of see I just flipped this drawing over and then started re-recording. You can kind of see where the last drawing I did. Look how off the standard model he is now compared to the one underneath. That's kind of cool coming through. And so he's really twisted over. So we've really got to use our skill to make this happen. So we can see this box here tilted and moving in this direction. So we see the front plane of the box here, in here. And so the chin roughly in through here moving, and I'm just going to square it off, even though I know it goes back. And then this back part of the box would be through here. So if you're having a tough time, remember, go back to its most simple form that you can conceive and start and work your way forward from there. All right, so we have his movement here, and then we have the neck coming down, the back of the jawbone in through here, and the neck coming down, getting a little bit wider in this direction. Of course, the shirt comes over here, and then collar comes down, and then back in through there. So I'm going to go a little bit faster, and hopefully I can keep this in even more general, and we can get to a few more. So top of the head, coming down and through to the cranium, so now making it more of the natural human ovoid. Back part of the top of the head, the cranial structure, the fullness of it right in through there. Halfway, remember, is where the ear socket through in there where it connects. And so we're seeing this move in this direction, okay? Back down through the jaw. So I'm feeling all this and over and coming back over and through here. So the angle, look at the angle from ear to ear is roughly about in through there too as well. All right, so let's take a more stronger feeling of finding our features in through in through our drawing and through. So where's the center line of our model? Well, right to the center of the head, it's going to be on a curve. And I look for it right through the center of the brow. Okay, so it's going to go through almost the tip of the nose and curve over to what I feel like is the end of the chin, which is going to be the very bottom of the chin, which is right in through there. So I'll kind of mark it as a straight line. And then this gets on a curve, the jaw gets on a curve, comes on in. See that? On over, into the jaw here, then up to the ear, right in through there. And then we can follow that nice gestural flow this way of that curve. Here's the gesture of the head, and then it moves back in that direction. Really exciting kind of pose, and especially for any kind of action that you want. So we'll move down further, and we can start to find the jawbone coming down, curving back through the mandible over and through here, and it ends up back through here on a slight tilt, right in through there. There's the end of the jawbone, straight, and really curves over and through in terms of perspective and foreshortening. It ends up over and through there, and the little tip of the earlobe starts to emerge back in through this direction as well. Here's the other ear, which I'll kind of start to indicate in through there even further. All right, so we'll go a little faster in through here. So now let's find the difficult part of finding the eye line. If we can find the eye line, we can probably get to the rest. It's pretty high up, okay? Really pretty high, pushed up a little bit. Here's the center line, so we can follow along that center line. And I start to feel the eye line here. Look how curved it is, on a curve like it's on a cylinder. So we thought of it as a block, then we thought of it as an oval, and now I'm thinking of it like as an ellipse. So I'm turning it through. That's how difficult that can be. So remember, behind the eye is where the side plane of the head is. And see how this gets narrower right in through here. This starts to get shaved over. We get the hair coming through, and then we get the shaved coming down a little bit, which is really important. And then we see this jaw. We can start to feel this jaw move a little bit more in through there, and up and over, in through further. So the end of the chin is here, but the top part of the chin we see now is pushed about right in through here to there. So all this we want to keep fairly consistent as we're finding our features. Now the brow line will be a little bit higher. It's pushed up because we're looking more up at the model perspective, so that's going to push that further. So here's the brow line here, the apex of the brow line, about right through here, and then we'll bring it over and through, and that's going to protrude the face line, the outer contour here just a little bit, and then we'll see that forehead emerge stronger in through here, which gets us up, and then we can find the hair pushed on top a little bit. And so we can all start to see now this side plane of the head as it really starts to see how it really wants to give us a force moving this direction and then really back in that direction. I think it's really important to see. So we see this coming through and up, gives us that dynamic quality as we're looking underneath the side plane. Even the ear wants to push right in this curve, wants to kind of push us down in this kind of direction, and then we can kind of come back and up and through a little bit. Okay, I'll be quick with it. So let's find the bottom of the nose, so we can see the center of the eye line through here, the bottom of the nose, and we're starting to see the nose still as a classic triangle. So I'm on my center line. I feel the bottom of the nose. Look where the tip of the nose tends to kind of converge and end where the center of the eye line is, way pushed over, so I can feel that bottom of the nose here. Center of the nose here, look how it's pushed, and it emphasizes this gesture coming across. So the tip of the nose is here, pushed well on over. So we see that, and then again, that makes that triangular kind of structure. I think it's pretty easy to see once you start to get a hang of it. So the end of the nostril about right in through here, and then we see that as a triangle curving across that skull in our head, or that tube, that cylinder, both. There's the end of the nostril right in through here, center part up and through there, like so. Okay. And the bridge of the nose is up high and then comes down and through. Then we get the side plane of the skull moving in through there. And now, as we're moving on to find that racquetball, remember it's always a ball, so it's always going to be rounded like a sphere in perspective. There won't be any natural change in perspective. It feels like it's right in through here, right? So there's the natural roundness of the ball that comes through. You know, looking at it, I might be a little bit too low and through here, or too far down. I could always change it. Let's find that really quickly, as quick as we can. So we'll get the eye in through here, the golf ball, the ping pong ball of the eye, and through here. The other one would be down lower roughly, right in through here. We can see it overlapped and underneath. So the nose comes on top. Look how far down below that is. It's pretty fascinating. We get this divot inside here. The cheekbone will come across and up and over and through here, which kind of gets us into this mouth muzzle right in through here. Then we can kind of come down through and on back into the cheekbone through there. So the mouth now, again, rounded on the center line, so we find the center of it. And so the bottom of the lip, it's hard to find that mark. So here's the top of the head, the bottom of the head where the chin is, right? So halfway from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin would be about right in through here. So it still feels decently comfortable where we've got this top part, a thick part of our chin, right in through there. Okay, coming in through. Jawbone back and through there. And so let's finish this up, and we'll find our mouth lines and the gesture. So I find the top of the lip right in through here. Okay, I feel like the bottom of the lip is going to land right in through here. Let's see how well I did. The gesture of the entire movement, way rounded. Look how rounded this is. Top of the lip. Here's the gesture coming on through that ball, that rounded ball, crashing, curving downwards. And we find where this closes, it moves in this direction and overlaps a little bit. And look how far down it is. It moves way, way on down the line. We get in through to here as we move on down to here. So it's pretty far down. With fullness of the top of the lip, we're seeing underneath it, so it wraps around, so it gets pretty full in through there. Then it curves on in. Curves on back and on in and down. And ends up pretty low. So we see that angle here from the end of the mouth here to the end of the mouth pushed back and curved on through. And there's where we get that overlap into there. And then we'll find the space between the bottom of the top lip and the top of the bottom lip. About right in through there. So the teeth will come around and through like so. So we see its bottom, the top of the bottom lip about right in through here. We can measure it. And the very bottom of all that was about right in through there. So a little bit higher. And we'll come on down and through. This would curve down and come in and connect underneath like so. Now, let's find our center line. Let's find where the bottom lip is. The bottom top part of the chin right in through here. Okay, let's find that structural component, which is also the top part of the jaw, the back part of the jaw, right in through here to here. So this needs to come up a little bit. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit in through here. Okay, right in through here. The ear will push about right in through here. So I'll bring that through and just draw through all this. Don't worry about that. This will come down and on in, and then we get our cheek, or excuse me, our neck back right in through there and on over in through there. So recorrect as you need to find, as you find your features more accurately, and then you recorrect. This divots in just a little bit more nicely through and off on over. Coming on down. And we've got our ear, so let's check our ear placement. This might be a little wide, so I'm looking at side plane of the head coming on through. It feels like it needs to be pushed in about right in through here. So here's where I see the start of the ear through, then over, then to the back of the ear curves down and through here and on over. So adjust. These are hard. This is a hard pose. Adjust and make your mistakes and change. Don't worry about erasing. This will all dissipate. If I was going to do a 2 or 3 hour study, it would all dissipate. Through, back of the neck, and through here. Sternocleidomastoid muscle to the back of the ear that's starting to emerge here. This curves around all the way and gets us to the sternum. Right in through here. Get that nice twist and curve. The back fullness of it right in through here. Back and on over to there. We get this downward. And the throat gets pulled right in through here. And downward. So now we have a structural gestural drawing, and we could tighten this up with time. And then lastly, I'll show you that the cheekbone emerges. We see the top of the cheekbone turn in. Usually we see it underneath in most views, but because we're looking so below, it's such an extreme viewpoint, we see it turn like that, just like the top of the eye and just like the top of the brow, to keep that inconsistent component. All right, so now we have something to work off of, to tighten up off of later. Okay, let's move on to another one. Okay, let's move on to this pose, as we've got sad Morgan here in this lovely expressive pose. So what's the viewpoint? We're looking down on the model a little bit, correct? So we're a little bit higher. So we've got a lot of the top of the head, lots of the forehead, and she's moved angling to the right a little bit. So we'll eliminate the hands in this view, and we'll just work on the structure. So the first thing I'm going to go for now is the oval of the head. Let's put it a little bit lower so you can see it's right in through there. Okay, on this kind of trajectory, here's where I think the center line is going to be. Right in through there. I'll bring down the oval of her head here and downward in through here. Keep this really simple. Hope I get through a few more. Shoulder line in through here. Okay, so we'll try to eliminate the thinking of the complexity of the hair and the hands a little bit. So we're moving through here. The neck would probably emerge and through here, shoulder coming down and then pushed back and way over in that direction. All right, so let's see if we can find our features in this challenging viewpoint. So the center line is moved, yeah, it's about right in through here over. Now the top of the head ends about right in through here with the cranium. So right where the hair splits and ends and starts to turn and open up to her face, that's where the top of the cranium is. So if we could box that off a little bit, it would look something like this in perspective. So we can see the top of her head there. I think that's important for you to see in through there. So we bring down the center line and let's find our eye line. So top of the head, bottom of the head, moving in this direction, slightly pushed in for perspective. And we're going to find a center line probably about right in there for her eyes. Right in through there. Slightly above that, again, is the brow line. So brow line, eye line in through here. And we'll move down the head. And then down through, halfway down from the eye line to the bottom of the head or the chin. Halfway down is where the bottom of the nose is. That feels pretty good. Remember, these are all parallel. There's not much of a curve in this view, but they're all, see how they're relatively all parallel to make them feel accurate and realistic. And then we have the bottom lip about halfway down. She's got her mouth closed, but there's a decidedly downward trend, so a sad viewpoint that's emerging from our model, right? So everything is starting to push and come down in this in this direction and be emphasized there and through here. So top of the lip here, bottom of the lip in through here, the width of the nostril in through here. You don't see a whole lot of the other nostril on the other side, just a touch. The tip of the nose is lower because of the point of view. And then we get this strong movement here, right? Downward, strong movement down that way. When this comes through, and then this emerges and comes on down and through there. So we get that turn. And so I want to be quicker with this one. And so we start to feel the cheekbone come out of the structure, start to emerge. And we move in this direction where we have our eye socket, which gives us this rhythm. But downward our cheekbone in through here. Then we start to feel this emerge. And of course she's got her hand in through there. So we start to feel that on over. And I'll start to put a little hair on here and through there. Keep that simple. Okay, and we have the back of the head in through here. We can tighten that up. It comes into a little bit of a, I guess, a bun back in through. And so I can start to tighten that up. And we start to feel that top plane of the head really start to emerge in our viewpoint and downward and through here. Okay, so we still feel this cheekbone. We can bring that over in through here without needing to shade all that, just to bring the structure out right in through here. So again, this kind of parallelism here, here, for the center of the eyes, roughly, the bottom of the cheekbones, right? The lips through. Entire expression of kind of sadness or maybe poutiness. And through here. Okay, for her brow, roughly in through here, then we're going to get this undercut turn in through here and over. This turns over pretty much in light. And side plane of the head about right here behind the eyes, behind the eyeball, right in through here. We're going to see this as structurally. I want to bring that out more than you see it. So you do see it. So we see that slight side plane of the head. We don't see it over here, right? Because here's our brow coming in. We'll see a slight divot for the eye socket. And then our cheekbone, nice high cheekbones, emerging outwards and then downward through. And then on over to what will be the kind of a downward pout also of the chin. Right in through here. Pick back up the center line. And through there. So let's put on the eyes a little bit, just give a feeling of the eye socket. Through here. So they would feel connected, integrated in through here. Leave a little space in between. Other one coming back over, maybe just a little bit larger in perspective. Just a little bit closer, you have to be sensitive to that. Unless we're straight on. Okay. And we see the other eye coming through. Eye socket follows that pattern of the eyeball and downward. And the eyeball would be fitting nicely right in through here. So we've almost conquered this tilt in the structural, gestural basics of the expression. There's a lot of detail that we could get. We'll get that in the future. We'll bring the hair through, open her up through in this direction. Kind of downward. This actually kind of tightly covers the head. And through here, open that. So the lid's just right in through here and downward. And if we wanted to throw on the eyeball, look how high up the eyeball, look how much wider the eye we would see under here. So to place that in the eyeball, we'll get into eyes soon. We'll break down all the components of each feature right in through there. We can shade that in a little bit. And we can start to see her emerging and looking up at us in a kind of a pouty expression. There we go. All right. And then lastly, we see one ear emerging. Let's figure that out. So remember our brow line, bottom of our nose, it's kind of where they generally fall. We can bring that over, and then our perspective, remember, is pushed way back this way. Way back this way. So this is tough. Brow line, end of the side plane of the head, and back immediately turning. So there's a line we could probably find that ear on, in through the top of the ear. So it feels pretty good. If you take the top of the ear, what I see is about here. It ends up at about right here of the eye. Okay, right there. So we can bring that across, straight line across, end it on this line, push it back in space where it goes in perspective. So there's what I feel is the top of the ear. Here's the part of the lobe, the three-dimensional part of that. And this line actually works out nicely with the angles back into the body just a little bit, turns, angles back in, and we'll just give it a little shadow, kind of comes back in. Like so, and it would reconnect back up with the side of the head about right in through there. So there we go. That gives us a nice tilt, nice expression. Let's move on to a few more. Let's do one last one now. We'll do Ashley here. So she's got a nice kind of expression of disgust, and then we also have the head tilted, a little bit too as well. So she's tilting in this direction. Right, and for this drawing, I'm going to use a medium charcoal pencil. I've got my trusty charcoal extender as well. So her head's really pushed in this direction, so the gesture starts to emerge kind of in here. So it's slightly tilted, twisted back towards us, because you can see the stress on the neck a little bit, and then she's got a downward and also sort of upward out, bottom lip kind of expression that gives us that feeling of disgust, which I think is kind of a fun look. Very expressive model. All right, so let's get the basics of the head, and let's start with our oval in through here, and we'll start to bring this downward. So we've got this expression, gesture coming around. You see that through. Okay, bring that oval down underneath. So the turning in this direction of the oval, that rhythm through here, a little bit fuller back here in the cranium. We start to bring this down, feel that side underneath here, and then we start to bring the neck. We'll start to bring the neck down. The chin emerges here, but the neck starts to full, and she's crashing her neck as she's twisting it a little bit in through here, and we start to see the bulge of the hair bun in through here. We'll start to just gesture in a little bit and get that. And then we'll bring the neck and part of the shoulder down in this direction as well in through here. And we can kind of start to figure out now what we've got to work with in terms of our landmarks, where we're at. All right, so we have that. First thing we might start to take a full effect on is the center line of the head in through here. So through the center of the brow line, right, in through here and downward. We'll move in this direction. Move this way, okay? So we've got that coming through. And then we'll find our eye lines a little bit more difficult. We've got the top plane of the head turning in a little bit, and we've got the bottom of the head underneath the chin kind of moving in slightly for perspective's sake in that direction. So, all right, so halfway between there, right, on the center line would probably give us what here, right? Well, she's pushed a little bit higher than that. So the actual eye line now is going to be a little bit curved in this direction. The right eye is higher than the left eye because of this curve. So we have that curve to deal with, okay? So that's the center line of the eye. Then we have the brow line a little bit higher in through here. So we can start to come around and start to feel the bulge of that brow in through here. And then a downward trend naturally for the eye socket on the side to emerge, which starts to already give us our cheekbone right in through here. So we start to feel that cheekbone in through here, and then this crashes downward. The side of the head crashes downward and through there. So we can already start to bring our cheekbone down and through and over. Other cheekbone will start to emerge here. And can we start to find already the side plane of the head? So you have the center of the eyes through here, ending of the eyes, ending of that brow socket and eye socket right in through there. So we've already got the feeling of right the side plane of the head right in through here. So we feel that coming in through, kind of darkening the back of our head. We can start to feel that roundness coming through. And we start to feel that bone structure merge for the jaw, which will start to get us to the center of the ear, about right in through down, and much lower. So the ear will be, the top of the ear will probably be about where the bottom of the nose, tip of the nose will be right in through there. So I can start to bring down her jaw in through here. Let me push this drawing down a little bit so you can see it. There we go. Better if you can see all of it, right? Of course. Okay. Jawline in through in here. And I'm already going to see the shadow pattern as kind of a helper to find me with this jaw pattern. In through here. Kind of a triangular mark I'm looking at right in through here, which gets me down, which helps me find this underneath of all her chin and material, kind of about right in through there. Now let's find the bottom of the nose. So eye line in through here, bottom of the chin and cheek, really the bottom of the head. It gets a little bit elongated because of the extra material in through here. Probably should be a little bit higher right in through there. All this is relative, as you can change it to your needs to make sure you get accuracy. I do. I just did. So from the bottom of the head, the chin, to the eye line halfway down would be the nose line. Bottom of the nose and through here, it's a little bit higher. It's about right in through here, I'd say. Maybe just a little bit higher because we have this eyes in through here. So we can say the bottom of the nose where the nostrils hit about right there here. So it brings the tip of the nose just a little bit higher. So in through here I see that. And through here. And so we can start to bring the nose coming in this direction, catching up and into where the nose connects in through here to the brow, and then on over and down. And we'll just keep that pretty simple. Turning in through. Don't see much of the nostril on the other side, just a touch. There's a nose ring, I believe, in through there. Center of the nose and the bottom part of the nose about right in through here where she touches there. Just make that a little bit cleaner. Then the nostril pattern, and through here as we see the side plane of the nose coming in, it's kind of done for us already in sort of shadow tone right in through there. We can bring that down. And notice this on a curve right in through here. This again, this curve, same thing coming here. We can see the nostril starting to emerge in this direction. This can all be in just a quick easy shadow for now. And then we can start to see this nostril open up a little bit and through here. So let's bring that through. Pop that cheekbone out a little bit. We can start to see that cheekbone emerge here. This turn downward for us and through here. Then we can start to see and remember the racquetball inside here emerging a little bit further. Okay, remember that. In through there, so I have that to work with. Alright, so let's bring this brow over to here. We have that brow line, we have this rhythm of the eye now. Through here. Eye socket to work with. I'll tone that down just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Forehead structure. Front of the cranium. Right in through here. And we can start to see our brow kind of come down. Hairline pretty tight to the head. This can go a little bit lower. Let's bring this over. Get a little bit stronger with our profile. And this back side of the head in through here. This head wrap, just basically a sphere in the beginning, if you would. Alright, so let's find our ear line in through here, so brow coming over, pushing through to the side plane of the head, which is right in through here, and then back, here's our perspective, back in space, moving back, and so we push our ear downward, center here. So the tip of the ear is going to be where what? It's going to be roughly the tip of this nose hub, straight line over to about right there, I feel like. Here to about right there, maybe just a little bit lower. And then we find the trajectory of where we can mark her ear. Downward trend and over. And then she's got a longer lobe here because of the earring gauge that's in there. So we have a C shape. Then we'll move downwards and feel that bottom of the ear can come down pretty low. We'll have to check and see, mark it against the other information that we need for the mouth, so we can bring the ear in this direction for now. And we'll see how we did. All right, so let's start to feel the jaw come down in this direction. And through here, underneath. Like a finger there in the way. We get this folding and twisting and turning of the neck pretty good through here. So through that hair bone, the neck would connect back to the back of the neck, about right in through there. I'll simplify this out so we can start to see that. So into the brow and through here, which gets us this eye orbit nicely in through there. We can come back over the cheekbone, find it in the cheek, kind of where that dimple is. We see this roundness of the cheekbone. Nice high cheekbones in through here. Let's put our eyes on, so we can go ahead and do that. Eyeball in through here, fitting into the eye socket, fitting into that area right in through here. And downward. This is going to be a smaller one compared to the other side. This curves over, this brow will curve over nice and high, coming through. It almost disappears the lash. The actual open eye would start about here. I'm not going to get into detail in through here, but the gesture would be here. So it comes in and crashes down in, and then we come back and over with the cheekbone in this direction. And so we can keep this movement, but look how this transfers. This curves over, and this eye is much lower. Okay, through here and downward. The end of the eyeball is pushed about where that shadow is. I'll bring that shadow over just a little bit further to help us. About right in through here. Here's the eye orbit. The eyeball starts about right here. So the eyeball's smaller than the eye socket. Make sure that we understand that. I'll get into that in probably our next head lessons coming up in the future. So through here, okay, and a downward trend into that falls into a nice shadow pattern. I'll emphasize that just a little bit in this brow above it, so we see that. In through here, in the open lid, and through there. Into the eye sockets right down below, into the eye socket, right in through here. It turns in through. Okay, so let's get down the side of the head, and let's get into the mouth, and we'll get out of this last drawing here. All right, so let's find the mouth. So we've got this mouth in a downward trend, and the first thing I see is this really nice kind of a strong, downward pattern here. So we get this coming down already, this downward trend. And then we also have this, it's pushed up, so this kind of sense of disgust. So let's find that. So I'm going to find where the top and I think the bottom of these lips are, because she's open mouth again, and we've got all the mouth is also on the inside of the body. Well, what does that mean? Well, what I mean by that is we see the final outside profile here, right, coming through, but all the lips and everything ends on the inside of the body. So the gesture feels to me it's moving down in this direction. This is where the top lip ends. Filtering would come out of here into there, back in, and then she moves over, and this whole area crashes nice and downward kind of trend. Okay, see that? I think that's important to see her move in this direction. Really move and trend that downward, that mouth downward here, and then through, and this bottom lip comes up and around like so. Teeth wrap around. So everything's wrapping around that ball. So we can see the end of the top of the lip right in through there. Sometimes I'll mark that. I'll mark that, and then I'll kind of mark where I think the top of the bottom lip will be. If I get it wrong, I just adjust it. If I get it really wrong, I don't like the drawing, I'll just do another drawing too. No big deal. So this comes down, turns in, like so. Teeth are pulling this direction. Bottom of the teeth are pulling in this direction here. Bottom of the mouth pulling in this direction. You get that coming through. Kind of nicely turning downward. To get that shadow pattern that helps emphasize that. This pushes in through in that way. All this is moving in that direction. And so you get those bottom teeth coming over, and then it moves kind of downward, and then it disappears because it goes back into the head this way. All right, so we get this coming across, and then we get this bottom lip emerging through the open mouth, then up and over here, rounded and through, and here's where we find the bottom of the lip. So it's really turning this direction and coming all the way back and through like that. It's a challenging pose, challenging structure. So we have the top of the teeth there, top of the bottom lip moving all the way over, curved around and through, and down through, and then we can get the final turn of the bottom of the lip in through here, where it's fullest, about right in through here. And it's going to turn and go and keep on going and go underneath and disappear through here. This keeps on turning like so. And then we see this up push of the top of the teeth kind of turned in like this. I just find the top line of the teeth, and they kind of curving down like that. Be careful. Be careful about drawing all the detail of the teeth, especially in the beginning. And I think that's very important. So okay, I think we have the gestural structure of the head. This looks a little bit, maybe a little bit elongated. Let me go back and double check myself. So I'm feeling this movement here, where this protrudes on the outside in through here, underneath, before we get to the chin, this curved movement. This comes in and moves through. So there's a little shadow underneath there. Then the chin emerges here. Okay, downward. Top of the chin. It feels pretty close. It might be a little bit long. So running through there. Because we have this bony protrusion. This comes up underneath and through here. So maybe just a little bit. So I could shorten this up a little bit. Bring this in and back over. Yeah, and give her a little bit more. Not quite as full there. Okay, so there we go. So how you figure out those difficult poses. So I hope this was a good lesson for you. Keep on working, and I think very soon I'm going to put out a lot of visual reference information so you can draw along to that and have that with you as well. Okay, so there we go. We got tilts, twists, and turns, and all the difficulty of getting off the standard model. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. The next head lesson that we will have will be on the eyes, the ears, the nose, and the mouth, and going even deeper into the detail so we can get lots of detail and see how that works out. How did I work out my ear? Bottom of the lip and through here. Maybe it's a little bit low. It's a little bit through here, maybe just a touch. So maybe the bottom ear would be in through there. Okay? That's why we'll work all that out. Get the true shape of all these forms. The ear, the eye, the eyes, the ears, the nose, and the mouth. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.